Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with me, your host. My name is Chad Medved. This is my podcast. Appreciate you being here this week. Very special week this week. It is a milestone episode for I'll Call You Right Back podcast. 300 episodes in the game. Finally here, and it has been a long time coming. 300 episodes of I'll Call You Right Back is pretty mind-blowing for me to think about. You know, I have sat down with a good bit of the people in this community that make it what it is. You know, business owners, creatives, public figures, you know, all sorts of different people that make Pittsburgh the city that we all love. I've had an opportunity to invite them into my basement and sit down with them and talk with them at length about their lives, about their hopes, about their dreams, about their journeys, and it has been a privilege. And today we hit the 300th episode, and it is, you know, it's a big deal for me, obviously. You know, I've been thinking about what I was going to say in the intro of the 300th episode, but, you know, I feel like I kind of say it every week. You know, each and every week we're back with another great guest doing great things for the city, and each and every week I am appreciative of everyone who takes some time out to listen to these conversations that I have with these people from our city. And first off, if you're a new person here this week, all right, I cannot recommend it enough to go back into the phone book and search through the names of all the different people I've had on over the last 7 years. Obviously, after you listen to this week's guest, but, you know, go back in and look at some of the names that I've had on over the past years. There's going to be names that you don't know. There's going to be names that you do know, but guaranteed, every conversation that you choose to listen to is going to be an interesting conversation about someone's life and the passion that they put behind and the product that they put out. You know, this is their life's work. You know, the people that come in here and talk to me are talking to me about their life's work. You know, they pour their heart and soul into everything that we're focusing on that week, and that's a powerful thing. You know, it's a powerful thing to sit down and hear these people speak about, you know, what makes them get up and, you know, what they do every single day. And, yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for 7.5 years now, and it's just, you know, it's pretty crazy whenever you get to these big numbers, like, you know, 100, 200, 300. And, for me, it's just, you know, it makes me proud that I have, one, stuck to something for this long, two, been consistent as I've been for this long, and three, been able to build a network with all these incredible people that we have in our city. You would think after 300 people, I would I would have trouble finding guests, but, you know, that's not the truth. The truth is that, you know, everyone who comes in here kind of spider webs off into other people that they know that are doing great things, and they recommend me sitting down with talking to them. And you know, as social media grows and as I spend time on social media researching all these potential guests, I come across other people that, you know, I just never heard about. You know, there's restaurants that I've never heard about that just kind of blow my mind, that have been here forever, that I've just never came across. And, you know, that's one of the best parts about sitting down with all these people and hearing, you know, who their community involves, you know, who their community includes, you know, what other people from their neighborhood do they, you know, converse with, what other businesses in the neighborhoods that they're located in, or that they're kind of, you know, moving around with. And I don't know, it's just it's a powerful thing, and I just cannot say it enough how much I appreciate the support that I have been given over these last 7 years. And it's fun, you know, it's been fun. I'm still in love with, you know, sitting down with people and having great conversations with people, and I have, you know, really no end in sight for the podcast. So again, one more time, thank yous all for, just coming back every week and listening to these episodes and listening to me interrupt people and cut people off. I'm not a perfect man. I'm really not. I'm just a guy who sits in his basement and is genuinely interested in these people. And I try to do a job where I could, give these people somewhat of a platform to tell their story in a different way. Often, you follow them on social media and you get an opportunity to see their posts that they put on social media and their stories that they put on social media. And maybe sometimes you get to read an article that's written up about them in different newspapers. But, how often do you have a chance to sit down and listen to these people talk at length about their life's work? And, it's been fun for me. I've had people that you've never heard of in here, and then I have like the big dogs in here. Sally Wiggin, Rick Sebak, Edgar Snyder was in my basement. It's crazy to think about these things, but 300 episodes, here's to 300 more, and no end in sight. Now let me ask you, if you guys are here and you're listening to this right now on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please, for the 300th episode, if you haven't already, please take a second to subscribe to the podcast anywhere you're listening right now. Often you could find an opportunity to leave a rating and a review for this podcast. So if you have not done this yet, I urge you, take a couple seconds out of your day, scroll down on the Spotify or the Apple Podcast app, hit the 5 stars, leave me a couple of kind words about the podcast. And let me just tell you, that goes a long way for someone like me. We're almost at, I think, 300 reviews on Apple Podcasts. I think we stand at a 4.9 star, which is, stellar. It makes me pumped to be able to see things like that. So, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, add yourself a review there. Spotify, I think we're right around 100 reviews, right at 4.9 stars. If you're listening on Spotify, take a second. That's all it takes. It's free to you to leave a little review. And the people that are here watching the video episodes, which are, somewhat new over the last, year and some change, I've been working hard at adding video to this podcast. So if you're on YouTube right now and you're watching this, please take a second to hit subscribe below and hit a thumbs up on the video. Who knows how much that actually does, but for me, it does a lot for my spirit. It makes me feel better. Leave a comment about an episode that you enjoy, and that's really how you could support the podcast, in a free way. If you guys are if you're feeling generous and you want to support the podcast in a monetary fashion, there's a couple ways that you could do that I would be remiss if I didn't bring up. Recently, I just added a whole slew of hats on my website, which also has a bunch of t-shirts, so you can get some I'll Call You Right Back merchandise at I'llCallYouRightBack.com. I'm wearing one of the hats right now. It is designed and embroidered in the city of Pittsburgh. It is a wonderful fit. I also have Carhartt branded hats that are on the website. So if you're looking for a Carhartt hat, I got some beanies on there, and I have all sorts of different merchandise on the website. That is a perfect way to support if you are looking to give a couple dollars to the show. If you want to invest in I'll Call You Right Back, that's an opportunity. If you don't really care about merchandise, but you wanted to invest in the podcast that I'm doing, there's a website called Patreon, which you can subscribe to, which is a monthly subscription. It's $5. That really means that you sign up and $5 every month goes out of your bank account and it gets thrown into my little coin pouch. That's basically just a way to say thanks for putting out episodes each week. Those are really the ways that you could support the podcast, and let me just tell you, every dollar that you put into the show goes directly into making it something better than it already is. I know I've said this on here ad nauseum, but I have a full-time job that I work regularly, and this is all really just a passion project that I do, outside of working hours. I go to my regular job and I come home and I record these episodes, I research these people, I edit these episodes, I post these episodes, and this is just me. I'm a one-man show show that's doing all this. It's been me for 7.5 years, only me, and it makes me proud to be able to, see what I've created and see the numbers of the podcast growing each and every week. People enjoy what I do, it seems, and I'm just thankful for that. So, in addition to all the good stuff that came along these last years, I'm just excited to keep chugging along and moving towards the future and seeing what types of guests that I could get in the future, what sort of big name people I could get in this studio basement, and what kind of people I could sit down and talk with. Now, I'm throwing a 300 episode party. I'm pumped about it. I did a 200 episode, and now obviously I'm doing a 300 episode party. It's going to be, this weekend. It's going to be at Brillo Box. I got food being catered by my guests this week and some other guests that I've been friends with over the last, length of me doing this podcast. And it's going to be a celebration. I'm going to have a good time. I'm excited about it. If you're a past guest that's listening to the podcast right now and you'd like to come, slide into the DMs at I'll Call You Right Back. I'll throw you the details, and just come and celebrate this milestone with me, because I'm very excited. Like I said, I'm going to have it catered by some local food spots. And my guest this week, and the reason that everyone is really here this week, I sit down with Anthony Badamo of Badamo's Pizza. Now, I know everyone has their own opinion on what sort of pizza in Pittsburgh is best, and it's a controversial opinion. It's a controversial topic to talk about what is best. But in my opinion, Badamo's Pizza that holds the crown for me. That's my favorite pizza. So, to celebrate the 300 episode, I knew I had to get some good food in there, right? So I hit up Anthony. And I'm getting him to cater. We're gonna have a pizza bar at Brillo Box. We're gonna have wings from Streets on Carson, which is another favorite spot and a alumni of the show. We're gonna have a cookie table from a local baker, Nicole Medved, and it's going to be just a great time, a long time coming. But this week, Anthony comes in and we talk all about his life and all about Badamo's Pizza. He is celebrating 15 years in the game. So he has been a staple in the city of Pittsburgh for 15 years, and that is an incredible accomplishment, and there's no one better to, ring in the 300th episode than, Anthony. So he comes in, we sit down, we talk about, the origins of Badamo's Pizza, how he got into making pizza in the beginning, how he developed his style, which is, one of the best in my opinion, and, everything along the way. He has moved locations. At one point, he was located in Mount Lebanon, and a lot of people knew from him there. And he recently moved to Dormont the last couple years ago. And then he obviously has a spot on Federal Street in Northside that has been there for some years. But, in this conversation, we talk about everything. We talk about, how he gets involved with making pizza in the beginning, how he created his own pizza joint, and how he, goes about moving in this world, and, what goes into, switching locations and, the whole deal. And it was a great conversation, another great conversation out of, all these 300 that I've had. And I can't thank Anthony for coming over and talking to me enough. I can't thank him for wanting to be involved with the 300 episode party. And, I'm just excited. I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for his future. I could say it till I'm blue in the face. I love Badamo's Pizza. I've talked about it on here numerous times. If you guys have not had it yet, you could find a location in Dormont and you could find a location in Northside. I urge you to go and try it out. It is a favorite by a lot of people. Rick Sebak highlighted it on a little documentary, which is, arguably one of the biggest accolades you can get as a business in Pittsburgh, is being highlighted by none other than Rick Sebak. So, go support all these people. just support any local business. I really try to harp on everyone to, support local. Realistically, we got to think about investing in our city and investing in the places that we want to be around forever. And, we talk about how important it is to be one of these people in the city and what goes into really keeping them alive. So without further ado, episode 300 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with Anthony Badamo of Badamo's Pizza.
I gotta use the telephone.
Hello?
Telephone.
I'll call you right back. Call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll Call You Right Back podcast.
Nice.
Got some cans on. We're ready to roll, I guess.
Do we do this?
Yeah. Get the whole vibe in.
Yeah.
A little bit more official than last time
Yeah.
we were on.
Although I like the rogue vibe we had.
That was sick.
COVID.
Dude, that was
like a couple weeks into COVID, right?
yeah, I think that we had that planned and then COVID happened and we were like,
Yeah.
is this still going to happen? And we pulled up to the old shop and that was
Yeah,
dope. That was my first on location interview.
Okay.
It was a good vibe in there.
Yeah.
I liked it. It felt cool. What's in that place now?
Another pizza place.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, I sold all my stuff to them. I didn't sell the business, but I sold all of my
oven
gear.
and everything?
Yeah. I didn't take anything out of there except the pictures.
Yeah. Well, that's
I was
good.
just clean slate, new things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Almost 5 years though since we talked.
no. Well, I guess 2020.
Yeah. March of 2020
Yeah.
is when COVID started happening.
Right.
We probably were April or May maybe.
I think so, yeah.
I don't know. It was wild though, but I was excited to get you back in here.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm happy to be here. This is
15
dope.
years? You guys are here?
Yeah, 15 years.
When is the official day?
I think February 8th.
Really?
Yeah, something like that.
Dude, that's a clip. 15 years is a
I
clip.
know. I can't even believe it. Time, what is time?
I don't know. I can't believe that COVID was a half of a decade ago.
Yeah, I know.
It's wild to think
Well, I mean, it
about
lasted
that.
for how long? 3 years, 2 years?
Yeah, I guess it's still on the residual of it now, but
Yeah.
it's wild to think that it's been that long ago.
I know.
Kind of bizarre.
What a nightmare.
I know, but I mean, luckily, hopefully, we're on the back end of it all. We don't have too much to
we're
worry
in the
about.
clear, I think.
Dude, my aunt was just in the hospital for COVID.
What?
Yeah, she had it real bad, couldn't breathe and shit, and I was like, Jesus, but luckily she pulled through. Everything's cool.
Good.
But yeah, dude, I was pumped to get you in here.
Yeah.
I know that I hit you up probably 6 months ago or
Yeah.
something, and I was like, we got to get another episode
know.
in, and you were like, well, I got 15 years coming.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I figured give us something to talk about.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, I don't remember a lot of the origin story, so I feel like this is just going to be a fresh,
All right. Yeah.
fresh rip if that's
Whatever,
cool with you.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
I mean, are you from Pittsburgh?
Yeah, born and raised.
Where at?
So I grew up in the South Hills,
Okay.
and I grew up in the Bethel Park area, and then in the mid to late 90s, my parents moved us out this way,
Yeah.
out to Peters, and I graduated from Peters Township High School year 2000.
Year 2000.
Yeah.
How old are you?
42.
Are you really 42?
Yeah, dude.
I would have never guessed that.
Yeah.
I had no idea. You definitely don't look 42.
Thanks. Yeah.
I feel like I look older than you.
Nah.
I got this gray in my beard. It
Dude,
looks
you
crazy.
should, I thankfully I'm not bald yet, but I have gray.
Do you have baldness running in your family?
My mom's side, but my dad's side was thick, strong hair.
Thick, strong Italian hair.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get a little bit of both. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm lucky to have as thick as hair that my hair's really not thick, but it's just it's full.
Yeah.
I got a full head. I don't know how I would look crazy bald. I would look like Butterbean or something.
Yeah, I don't know how, we I'm sure we all have friends that it happens to, and they just
dude, I had a
shave
cousin
it and go.
Lost his hair in like 11th grade, basically.
What?
He's bald now, but yeah, like 11th grade, he just like started losing his hair. But so I mean, obviously you're here to talk about Badamo's Pizza.
Yeah,
the best. I mean, my favorite in the city, honestly.
Thank you.
But what was life like before the pizza shop?
Yeah, life was cool. Yeah, I mean, I went to college for a little bit, high school, regular high school stuff.
What were you into in high school though? Like
in high school,
shit were you doing?
Me and my friends were just like into like terrorizing stuff. And like, we were kind of like maybe the alternative type kids. And, we would like, roll up on, high school parties that all the popular kids were having. And we would wreak havoc on the parties. We did that. We like to fish. I used to ride BMX. I used to.
Do you play sports or anything?
I played hockey in high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, senior year, like my parents were like, no varsity hockey. It's too expensive. We don't want to travel. So I just got a job,
Where was that?
I worked. My first job was at a Dairy Queen on Route 19.
Dairy Queen.
Yeah, which was like a legendary first job because, we just like cut up. We were really busy, obviously, summertime, and it was like my first introduction to food service and like, what it's like to work on a crew with different people and just like the type of folks that are doing food service. Even if we were young at the time, it was just like that like kind of ragtag vibe just like resonated with me. I was just like, I love doing this, So I just kind of stuck in food service for a while.
You were 17, 18 when you started working there?
Yeah, 16, 17.
Now, do you come from a family of like people that cook?
Yeah, I mean, my family cooks like crazy. Nobody has cooked professionally, even though, in my opinion, I feel like they should have. My mom and my dad and my grandparents, when they were around, were like outstanding cooks.
Was it like stereotypical Italian?
Yeah, I mean, homemade pasta. Or not homemade pasta. They would make bread. They would make all of that. My grandfather had a big garden, so he was all into gardening and, preserving vegetables and canning vegetables. And
that's cool.
Was fortunate enough for him to teach me how to do that. We used to can hot cherry peppers at the shop.
Wow.
For years. And they'd come from his garden. They'd come from local farms. So yeah, I mean, food, obviously in an Italian household, food is like, you're talking about what's for dinner whenever you're eating lunch, know? And that sort of thing. So,
I mean, like so from a young age, were you in the kitchen?
Not really. I mean, I was kind of, I think like subconsciously I was paying attention to what was going on. But like, after the Dairy Queen thing, and then I kind of got into doing pizza like part-time. I worked at a couple places out this way and just had a really good time with it, got good at it, and kind of did that until I was, early 20s, went to school for a year and a half, realized I didn't want to do school, but also realized at the time that I couldn't make a lot of money working, in the food industry, you know? So I got into sales.
Sales?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when does, so if you started doing pizza and you enjoyed that, I mean, I know that you had a stint in a band, you know?
Yeah, I did. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I know that you were at the Black Tower Review, right?
Yeah, I like forget about that, honestly, because it seems like another lifetime ago. Like, yeah.
You did vocals and guitar?
I did, yeah.
What year was this?
So, like, we started playing in maybe like 2001,
So
2002.
You're like 19 at the time?
Yeah, 2002. Yeah, because I remember we were like some of our early shows. I was underage, and we would like, you know, we used to play at Howlers in Bloomfield. That was like some of our first shows, and we would get in underage, and we would, you know, party and all that.
When does music start to come into your life?
Yeah, I mean,
though?
music is also in my family. My dad went to CMU for music, so he was a trumpet player and
Really?
a touring musician. And my mom was a singer and a touring singer, and they met on the road, and she was working for Don Brockett. Do you know who Don Brockett is?
No.
He was involved with Mr. Rogers.
Really?
Yeah. Chef Brockett, he was a character on the show, but he also had a production company, and she sang.
Wow.
So yeah, music is in the family too.
That's sick.
My sister was like an unbelievable piano player. And I played guitar, I sang, I played a little bit of bass. Like I was never really great at anything. But I just kind of had an ear, you know.
When did you pick up a guitar first?
Probably like 15.
Okay, yeah.
Something like that.
Typical.
Yeah, 14, 15 years old. Yeah, just kind of was like, you know, was into like independent music and like punk music and stuff like that, and just wanted to learn how to play, and yeah, started playing.
So you starting to, you know, get into a band, like, I mean, how long was the band?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I had a band when I was even younger than that. We were like, I mean, we're talking like 98, 99.
Hell yeah.
2000, like we were like influenced by like early like emo type stuff, like Midwest emo.
Like,
type
what were you
stuff.
listening to back then?
Like back then, you know, I was like really into like Joan of Arc, Captain Jazz,
Okay.
American football,
Yeah.
Jimmy Eat World,
All that stuff.
yeah, and then that kind of, there was like a little bit of a crossover with like hardcore, and like that heavy music back then. There was like a really crazy scene in Pittsburgh for that type of music back then.
Yeah, the music scene. I mean, we were spoiled with.
Yeah.
From what I hear, we were spoiled. I was 8 years old back then, so
Bro,
I wasn't being able to experience that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. Like my folks, you know, let me kind of go into Oakland and mess around like 15 years old. So
I feel like back then that wasn't like unheard of.
No,
you know, like back then kids were like, you know, I would leave my house in the summertime and just like not come back until like 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Just like walking around and
Right.
shit. I feel like there's not really like that now.
yeah, I mean, they would drop me off, or my friends would go down, and we'd go to Club Laga. We would go to the Upstage. You probably don't even know.
I know of these places, but
Yeah.
like I've never been to any of these places.
Right. Yeah, this was like right in the heart of Oakland.
Yeah, like my first like experience of being, you know, kind of like independent in the city was just like the Beehive.
Yeah.
You know, I would go down and I would be at the Beehive, and I don't know, maybe like 9th or 10th grade,
Yeah.
like smoking clove cigarettes,
Right, yeah.
thinking that you're like out.
You're
know?
like outside. Yeah.
Yeah, outside. But yeah, dude, before that, I mean, I feel like I had no bearing of the city at all.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting because like I've interviewed so many people and I hear about all these like legendary places,
Right.
and you know, it's just like stuff that was like past my time.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean, I realized like living out here, it was like a total bubble, you know, especially at the time, like, you know, it was just, I felt so far away. I don't know. I just was like drawn to the city, you know?
Yeah.
My, dad's side of the family is like from the north side. So we were always, you know, when we were down there going to visit them, and then my mom's side was like Bloomfield, and, you know, didn't spend a ton of time over there, but like had been over that way, and it just kind of like I just kind of felt that I like wanted to always be. I was like getting pulled to the city, you know.
Oh yeah. Now, whenever you joined Black Tie Review, I mean,
Yeah.
like how long were you in that band? And like, I mean, from what I've seen, I mean, you guys, that was somewhat serious, right?
Yeah, it was pretty serious. I mean, I started the group, so me and a friend who was from Mount Lebanon, we were both involved with music and playing guitars and writing songs and stuff like that. So we would get together and start writing songs. And yeah, I mean, we were, you know, kind of influenced by more of like a kind of like a garage rock type vibe, like yeah, or like the Cars, like the Ramones,
Raspberries,
yeah, like all like power pop type stuff, you know. So yeah, just kind of like short, sweet, simple, fast, catchy, like pop type stuff. I mean, it wasn't pop punk, but it was punk and it was pop, you know?
Yeah. How long did that last?
Yeah, so we started that like, I don't know, I mean, maybe 7 years.
Oh, okay.
6 years, something like that. Yeah, I mean, we put out an EP. We played locally. We played basically everywhere that you could play here. We played, at the time, really big shows here. I don't even remember, dude. We played with so many big bands back then. And then we kind of started, we're like, wow, we're already doing things in Pittsburgh. We were like, let's get out of town. So it was like Cleveland, and then it was like DC, and then New York, and we would just try to like jump on whatever we could jump on, you know. And then we started to get booked, and then we started to get a following, and then yeah, and then we were like trying to do that as often as possible, you know, like leave town, long weekends, small tours. At the time, South by Southwest was like really, it wasn't like by no means underground, but like South by Southwest was like a very much indie thing back then. So we were like, we need to get to South by Southwest, you know? So, yeah, we like, you know, booked a tour down there. We didn't even get accepted, but we were like, we have to play down there, because the whole thing back then was kind of like, you know, if you didn't get in, and there was all these like side shows and parties and stuff. Yeah. So we like got to play some really cool parties, and then like the next year we got accepted. So we went down there and played, toured down there. So yeah, I mean, it was like everything. I had thought that I was going to like be playing music forever.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, I mean, like, how does that like fall apart? Really? Not really fall apart. I feel like that's a negative connotation.
No, I mean, honestly, like, it's just hard to be in a group with like 5 people, you know? Yeah. And like, especially because we were all young and like we partied a lot, and it was just like, we were all friends, but it was just difficult, you know? And yeah, I mean, it kind of fell apart. Like I don't know. It just kind of like, basically we were playing these same songs for a long time. Yeah. We had like our set that we had played. We recorded in New York in like 2005. Mm-hmm. And we went up there and spent like a whole week, and then went back a couple times and recorded a full length. We got signed to a small like indie like garage label, and we recorded, and then we were like touring on these songs, but we like didn't get signed for like 2 years. Mm-hmm. So then we got signed. It was like, we thought it was a big deal. It was like not a big deal. And the album came out, and we were like burnt out. Like by the time the album came out, we were like over it kind of. So like the album came out, we did some support for it, like some tours that we had like thought were going to happen, like fell through. The label like didn't completely hold up their end of the bargain. And we had an opportunity to go overseas to play with Dick Dale. Do you know who Dick Dale is?
Yeah, I've heard of that before.
So he's like a surf rock like guy, you know? And he was like legendary, and like the shows were going to be really big. We were going to be the support for him, and it was going to be like 2,000 capacity rooms. We were going to do a whole tour of Europe, and like we just kind of like, it's kind of like crumbled, like, or he got sick they canceled the tour like 30 days before we were going to leave.
Jesus.
It was like a big blow.
Yeah.
And like we all had girlfriends and we were all like just not into it as much anymore.
Yeah, people's lives just kept chugging along.
And like it was just kind of like I was ready to do something else. And I had been writing different types of music after that. And I had thought that like, okay, well, I'm just going to kind of like pivot and start doing like other music.
Yeah.
And I did for a little bit, and then I like started cooking, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like, obviously, like, you know, as a musician, it's like, you know, it's not as, you know, you're not making a bunch of money. You're
No,
usually
we didn't
just
make
like,
any money. I mean,
that's what I mean.
like I bought the van, like I bought the trailer.
Yeah.
We used, you know, we used the money that we made to kind of like pay for gas and food and like hotels. And
so when that falls apart, I mean, like, what? So you're just working. You know, you said you started some pizza places out this way.
Yeah, well, that was like earlier, but like then, the whole time I was playing, I was in sales for like a wireless company. So I was like working for Cricket, the cell phone company.
Yeah, I know Cricket.
Yeah, and I like did really well there. And
what a weird time, like the cell phone boom.
Yeah.
I talked to another guy named Eric McKenna, and he like. Or not Eric McKenna. Maybe it was him. Yeah, it was Eric McKenna, but I think he was selling like pagers or something like that.
Yeah.
And then another guy, Doug Cooking on Instagram, he was in the same sort of like, you know, the same sort of vein, but it's such like a weird, I don't know, just like that time was crazy to think about whenever people were just like getting into it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I was doing that and was like making like pretty good money for my age, and they were like really cool with me leaving town. Like there were perks where I would like, you know, you get hours. I would like save up time off and stuff like that to like get out of town. And it just kind of got to the point where like my boss at the time was just like, so if you want to keep leaving town, like we just don't need you anymore. Like we can't, you know what I mean? Like I like kind of, yeah. And it was just kind of like, well, my job is like good. I don't know. There was just like a lot of things kind of came to a hilt, and I was just kind of like, guys, we're done with this. I'm gonna like move on, you know?
So 15 years. I mean, like, so you opened the first Badamos 2010?
Yeah. So 2010, like 2008, I started looking for a place. I had been working that job, that Cricket job, and I like kind of, it was just like, I don't want to work for anybody. I want to try to find my own thing. And I was like living in the East End. I was living in Bloomfield, and I was like looking for a little place, like a little sandwich shop or like a little place that I could rent.
That was the idea at first?
Yeah, the idea was just like to find a little sandwich shop where I could rent and like make sandwiches. And it wasn't really pizza to begin with. And it was like looking at so many places and, you know, saving my money.
What was the pizza scene like?
There was nothing. I mean, there was Minios, there was Fioris, there was, you know, Aiello's.
Yeah, like the three
Like all
names.
the big guys were going strong, like they always are, and they always will be. But there was no, and like Il Pizzaiolo they were doing their thing. But that was like a Neapolitan style. I wasn't really interested in the Neapolitan style. I was more interested in like the slice aspect, you know, and there wasn't very many places that were doing slices other than like the big dogs, and they weren't doing like a display case like slice situation. They were just doing, you know, like the way it worked back then is you were just like, give me two off the top, you know, because the pies were just on top of the oven, and you didn't see them. And you were just like, I mean, two off the top, and then you go, you know.
Wow.
But yeah, so I was just like, sandwich shop, blah, blah, blah. And then I had this pizza experience. And yeah, that's when I found the place in Mount Lebanon. Like my parents live out this way. I was driving back home to see them on Washington Road. This pizzeria that I had been going to since I was a kid had a for rent sign in the window. And I was like, in the city, I was like, my whole world, all my friends, my whole network was in the city. And I was like, could I do Mount Lebanon? Like, my dad has a business in Mount Lebanon. He's been in Mount Lebanon for 40 years.
What's he do?
He's a hairdresser.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Why not, right? Why wouldn't he be a hairdresser?
Yeah. Yeah, and he's a workhorse. He's still working. Yeah, huge inspiration.
So Mount Lebanon, I mean, back then, I assume that there wasn't as much as there is now.
Yeah, so Mount Lebanon it was kind of always like low key, kind of bougie, kind of, you know?
Yeah.
Like Minio's was across the street. There's that Minio's over there.
Oh, yeah.
There was a couple coffee places.
What was the place that it
was called Caruso's.
Caruso's.
Yeah.
And that place was around for a while?
It had been there since the late 70s.
Wow.
It's they're the family. It's a big family that's in Pittsburgh. Beautiful people, and they they had that pizzeria there for a long time.
And what kind of pizza were they making?
It was like, they were from Italy, so I mean they were doing like Americanized stuff, but they were, they were doing slices, but it was like their pizza was like, kind of similar to what we're used to here, which was like kind of like puffy crust.
Yeah, like a football pizza.
Cheesy, but it was delicious, and half the charm was like the fact that like when you went in there, like they were yelling at each other and like arguing in Italian, and it was just like it was an experience, and they had like a tragedy in the family, so they sold the business to another guy. This other guy ran the business for 3 years and then ran it into the ground, and it became available, and that's whenever I like made a deal.
I mean, you just like having this idea to go from a sandwich shop to like, grabbing this place, like, I mean, you just decided like, I guess did you think you were going to turn that into a sandwich shop, or did you want to keep that?
No, I mean, I had been making pizza at my house, like inviting friends over, like similar to like all these guys that are doing that now.
Yeah.
Like, I like had a KitchenAid mixer, and I like bought the flour from Penn Mac and was like making dough at my house and was like trying different sauce recipes, and I was living in Bloomfield, and I like would have friends over, and they would tell me yes or no, or too much salt, or and I just kind of was like, at the time, I don't know. I mean, I was just kind of like, I could do this, I could figure it out. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I was just confident in myself and was just kind of like, I mean, what's the worst that can happen? It's a 1-year lease. I got in for cheap.
Yeah.
It's like, if I fall on my face, I had a relationship with the owners of the building because they knew my family. And, if after 6 months I was out of money, like I didn't think they would have taken me to court. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I was just kind of like, I could go back to selling cell phones, or I could go work in a kitchen somewhere, or I could do whatever. And at the time, like when I did the math, like based off of my rent and everything, I was like, if I could do $300 worth of sales every day, I could pay my bills and I could make like X for myself, And it was just kind of like, yeah, why not? I was 27 years old. I had just bought a house, and like I was like, all right, well, I already secured the mortgage. So like the bank doesn't care if I have a regular job after that. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a good point.
They don't know. They won't follow up, I was like, as long as I can pay my mortgage and my bills. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of, I don't know. I like looking back, maybe I should have paid. I don't know. I mean,
I love it though. I mean, like you just said, fuck it. And you were just
I was just kind of like, let's do this. Like, we'll figure it out, you know? And it was cool. Like I had some close friends help me in the beginning. My mom would come every week and make soup, and like, she would make wedding soup, and my sister made cookies, and like it was just like a super like
family affair,
old school like family situation. Like my best friend Carrie, he helped me. My friend Bess, who like now runs Vintage Mixer, like she helped me in the beginning. And it was just kind of like
you had a village behind you.
Yeah, it was just like one friend, and then two friends, and then one outside employee, and then two, and we're just kind of like.
So how does like the tipping off point go for you, like developing, was what you have now always the way you did it back then? What was it at first?
I mean, so at first, you have like ratios to execute like a batch of dough. It was like X amount of water, X amount of flour, yeast, salt, oil. I had the ratios down, but we were using I was using different products then, and didn't really have like a grasp on like fermentation and like all the things that come into play to like execute a good pizza. But what we were executing was like still like satisfying, and like people were still into it, and the location was so nice that I had a really strong lunch business like right from the start.
Oh yeah.
So it was just like, let's put together an Italian hoagie, let's put together a steak hoagie, let's put together a really nice like pizza shop salad, and then let's do slices. One of the best. Yeah, thank you.
The salads, I mean, like the salads are nothing to bat an eye at. Pizza's great, but the salads are unreal too.
I mean, it's just kind of like at the time, it was just kind of like, let's try to, do all the things that like we're all familiar with, but when going to like a hole in the wall pizzeria, but like, let's do something that's like a little bit nicer,
elevate them a little bit.
Yeah. Elevate it a little bit. And like, so, that was kind of like the goal. There was like some inspiration around that time, like 2009, 2010, like in New York, had traveled there a little bit to see what was going on, had some really good pizza out there. And then once like I signed the lease, it was just like, I didn't go anywhere for like 10 years, like weddings and funerals. That's it.
Yeah.
And was just like married to it, but yeah, no, I mean, to answer your question, it was just kind of like totally different then. But it was still like,
you were doing
still
it
tasty.
Well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing it well.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you having like a lunch crowd, and you immediately having like some foot traffic with bringing people in. Obviously that's a good thing, because you're making your nut that you need.
Totally.
And you kind of have some freedom to be able to, experiment and develop what you got now.
Yeah. I mean, basically the way that it went then was just kind of like customer service was like first and foremost. I was always there. I remembered you after you came one time. I remembered your order. I remembered your name. And we like literally built it up like one customer at a time. Like I was so nervous to get started. Like I didn't put a sign up. I didn't have a phone. Like I like had a cell phone. My dad was like, "You're dumb. Like get a phone." And I was like, I'm not ready for a phone. Like I'm just going to have a cell phone number that I'll give to like my customers who, maybe want to call me. I was literally just kind of like,
yeah, you didn't want to like go crazy and like not be able to like, maintain.
Yeah. I was really just kind of like, my mom or my parents and like my friends would be like, well, so like, what should we tell people? Like what's your specialty? Or like, what, how should we tell people to go? And I would just be like, just come. Like when you walk in the door, we're going to say hi. We're going to offer you, we really built it up like really like old school.
Like in the beginning, did you have like multiple different pizzas? Because like you have an insane Sicilian pizza.
Yeah,
right
so
now.
we didn't start doing the Sicilian until like 2016.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had done a different version of the Sicilian, but to start, I did just a round pie.
Yeah,
and I just did like a tomato sauce pie, and I did like a white pie with like olive oil and garlic, and then it was just like tomato, handful of toppings, and like that was it. And then we did like a small sandwich menu, like a steak, an Italian, a caprese, a tuna, and that was like it.
Some standards.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, whenever you're chugging along with that place at 2010, when do you feel that you get your footing?
Yeah, I mean, so like after the first year, so when I got the place, I had one oven, like one deck. When you walk into a place, you see like
how many pizzas could you fit in there at one time?
So like 4.
Okay.
Or like 5 if you knew what you were doing, like moving them in there, you know? So like that place had operated for 30 years with one oven.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the first year, I realized like this business will not go anywhere unless I get another oven. Like I can't, that's not enough. I need more room.
Now,
you know?
Was that because were you getting a lot of like, you know, whole pie, like takeout orders?
Both.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was just like the phone would be ringing for takeout orders, but people would be walking in for slices.
Yeah.
And
you got a phone after a year?
Yeah. So I got a phone, like I got a landline phone with like a real number, like not too far afterward, maybe like a month and a half or 2 months into it, you know. I rocked with like a Cricket number, dude. Like and like a slider phone or something like
That's
that.
That's the best. On a trap phone, you get the pizzas.
Yeah. But yeah, so after the first year I was kind of like, all right, this is dope. Like this is a lot of work, but it's me, like it's like my crew.
Circus.
Yeah. And I'm like, let's do this, you know? So we like found on, at the time, Craigslist was just like looking for used ovens, found an oven that was basically like a sister of the one that I had already had. It was like the same company that made it. And it was like this company that I really liked out of New York, this company called Bari, and they made these pizza ovens that had been around since like the 50s. Mm-hmm. And I was like really into those ovens because they were like gas ovens, and they were they just like pumped the gas. Like you could just like rip in those ovens. And so I found another one. It had been in South Park for like 30 years. At another pizzeria, this guy was like gutting the place. I got it for like $1,000.
Oh, sick.
So we brought it in, stacked it, and now I had 2. So it was like, okay, we can now double the output.
Oh, so it was pretty much the same oven.
It's the same oven.
Okay,
yeah, it was basically like one
cool.
model off. It was like a little bit smaller, but the way that the ovens worked is they like were able to line up and we were able to stack them.
So you kind of had a handle on how to run that oven.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
So it made sense to kind of like stick with that brand at the time, you know.
I feel like that, you know, me included, I feel like I always thought that the first spot was in Northside.
Yeah.
How long were you guys at Mount Lebanon before you went to Northside?
So I opened up Mount Lebanon in 2010. In 2016, I was able to purchase the building in Northside from my landlord in Mount Lebanon. Her brother ran the pizzeria on the north side. It was called Pasta 2. It was another Caruso family pizzeria.
Like Pasta 2?
Well, no. It's kind of a long story, but
just not the same.
Yeah, not the same, but like there's like some lineage there.
Why so the only reason you bought you went to the north side was because you knew that?
I mean, you know, I had got to know members of the family, and I was at a funeral, and I had met the folks that ran that place, and I was super familiar with it because I drove past it every time I went to my grandfather's house. I knew that it was a great location, a busy pizzeria. I kind of also learned early on that like if you were to get a shop, you want to get a shop that already was a shop. That way you can
rely on some of the people that have already been going there.
Well, not that. Yeah, customers first and foremost, right? But also all the infrastructure. Yeah. So like the plumbing, the ventilation, all that stuff. And like Mr. Caruso, my landlord, you know, told me years ago when I was like really young, he was just kind of like, you know, this place has been here forever. He was like, you know, the customers know that when they pull on the door, it's going to be good, you know? And so it was just kind of like up to me to like
keep it going,
you know? So I knew that spot was available. I worked out a deal with the wife. Her name is Rose. She was like a total sweetheart. And it took me like a year, like almost 2 years to like clean the place up and get it ready because I like wasn't completely ready for a second shop. But it was like too good to pass up. And I also like realized that like owning the real estate was like super valuable.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
you bought the building.
Yeah. I bought the building down there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it was just kind of like, all right, I got the building. It was cheap-ish at the time. I worked out a deal with her where I didn't have to go to the bank. I just like paid her every month for it. And so I kind of like, as soon as the money came in, I would put it there, you know. It was like, we start in the basement, we do what we got to do there. Then we move up to the first floor, we do what we got to do there. And I like did everything brand new, like all new plumbing, all new ventilation. I had thought that I was going to be able to keep a lot of the stuff, but it ended up being like really bad. Like all the stuff was just like a mess. But like it was already zoned accordingly for the city, which made it easy where I didn't have to like pull a bunch of permits. Yeah. You know.
So when did that spot officially open?
So we opened at the end of 17, December 28th, 2017.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, you being in Mount Lebanon and you doing the pizzas there, I mean, like when does your style, when does the Badamo style sort of become cemented?
I mean, like I'm still pretty much making the pizzas almost the same, like because my hands, you know what I mean? Like if you have your hands, like everybody makes pizza a little bit different just based off of their hands and the way that they touch the dough, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I kind of already, we've kind of still been doing the same kind of concept when it comes to how they look and since the beginning. But like when we opened up Federal Street, we had been doing this like rectangular Sicilian pie with the cheese down first and the sauce like striped over the top. We had been doing that in Mount Lebanon for, you know, about a year and a half. And it just started by putting it in the display case and just like,
it's a beautiful pie.
Thanks. And like the people would just, you know, we would put it in the display case and we would try it different ways. We like did it with anchovies and then we did it with like a bunch of different ways and the customers really liked it. So whenever we opened up Northside, it put us in front of a whole new audience because like more people are in the city. It's like more densely populated. All of my people from like the East End and all like the city boys like could see me, you know?
Yeah.
And so we like kind of led with the Sicilian being like, we put that in a display case and like, you know, I had a super successful, busy pizzeria in Mount Lebanon. We had a really good name, had got like a bunch of press and like kind of were already kind of like looked at as like a player.
Yeah.
But like when we opened up Northside, my team was so strong and we set it up so right that like that's whenever we kind of like went to another level, you know.
Is there anything that you guys did in the beginning of Mount Lebanon that you tried that just didn't go well, that you just stopped?
I mean, I never really looked at anything as like a failure.
Yeah,
like
not even a failure, but just like you see that it's not as like as much of a crowd pleaser as the rest.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we had offered a handful of sandwiches and, you know, we had a really nice period there too where like my mom was working up there for me and she was like making like pasta salads and like other little sides that like the customers loved. And, you know, I think, like I said, like none of it, I don't think I fumbled anything, but I kind of like started to ask myself like what
where do you want to focus?
Well, not only that, efforts, but kind of like what's success? Like if I sell 10 of these a day, is that successful? Or is it successful if I sell 50 a day?
Yeah.
So like there were a couple items and like toppings that I was just like, okay, I'm selling 3 of these a day. You know, one operator might say, well, I'm scared for my customer. Like, I don't want my customer to be mad because I took that off the menu. So we're going to make that tuna hoagie, even though we only sell 3 of them a day. But I was just kind of like, I didn't care. I was just kind of like, it's not successful. So we'll stop doing the turkey or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So, and from the beginning, like I even like have, you know, pictures of like my very first menu. It was like literally on a card that was like this big. So like we always had like a super small menu.
Yeah.
Just like focus on the hits and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I after during COVID, I got real heavy into Gordon Ramsay, and and he would just come in and he'd be like, "Why do you guys have 8 pages of just like all this shit?"
Yeah.
He was like, "Get what you do it well, and just like cut the fat."
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like
I never had it explained by someone in that way, because like I always thought like, I would go to like my local Italian spot where we like grew up, and it was like a family style, and they would just have like a book of a menu. You could get anything from like, seafood to fucking, burgers and, chopsticks.
Yeah, they'd be doing pizza, they'd be doing like fried stuff, they'd be doing like chicken franchise, they'd be doing like vodka sauces, like everything.
And like from a young age, I'm like, yeah, that's cool. There's a lot of variety. But like as a, talking to all these business owners, it's understandable that you want to like you said, just play the hits.
That's it.
And it's a smarter, more logical way to go about things.
Yeah, honestly, like that like first rendition of that Ramsey show where he was in the UK and he was going to like those places where it was like actually real, as opposed to like the staged ones that he does now,
where he's really like telling people like what he thinks of their stuff.
When he went into like Michelin star restaurants and like told them what the fuck to do, that was like super inspirational, because it was just like, you only like focus on what you're good at, like find the ingredients that you like to use, like treat the ingredients properly with like care and like time, and then just like roll with those things. Yeah. And just like keep it moving, you know?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now the north side, whenever you guys opened down there at the end of 17, I mean, did it just like hit the ground running on that one?
It did. Yeah. It was like pretty hype, like right from the start. The lunch business there was super strong too, because the hospital's right there.
Yeah.
So like everybody was like, "Oh, are you going to put together a catering menu for the hospital? Are you going to deliver to the hospital?" And we were like, "No, like this is a small place."
You guys never delivered anywhere?
No. Well, we delivered in Mount Lebanon for a long time with our own crew.
Yeah.
But it just became messy. It was like super hard to manage, and we did really well with it. But it just got to a point, it just got to the point where like we were, we'd be having these shifts with like 10 and 12 people working. And it was just like a lot to have like 10, 12 people on a shift on a Friday night.
A lot of moving parts.
It was just like mayhem. And like the inside was busy. The slice game was super busy. And then like the delivery was just bonkers. And it was just like mayhem, actually. So when I opened up Northside, I was just like, we're scaling back to like if you want it, like just come and get it.
Yeah.
And we'll build the business that way. It's like, instead of like expecting, projected sales for delivery will be, and like projected sales for catering will be, it was just kind of like, no, we're going to do this with like 3 people in the room, and we're going to build the business around like what comes to us, So that's kind of what we did. And Northside was just like popping. Like they came over from the hospital. They would like queue up, and they still queue up and get slices, and like,
yeah, I mean, like,
it's a killer spot. The north side is just like so underserved,
Yeah, it's a cool area that like I didn't really frequent until, probably 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
And I just was never over there, but like it really is a cool spot.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on over there.
So I mean, like you guys being there and, starting off business there, I mean, like, what is the balance between you as a business owner, focusing your time and splitting it between Mount Lebanon and Northside?
Yeah. I mean, it was super hard. It's still extremely hard. I mean, that's the hardest thing. But when I opened up Northside, I had, some like insanely talented people working for me, and a couple of them are still working for me. And they're the best in the business. Like these guys, helped me get better, and helped the team get better. So right from the bat, I had wanted to put in some serious time down there, and I did. But it was really cool because I was able to start this new place, set like a new standard for like the recipes, for the dough, and for all of that. And then we were kind of like locked in for a while, and like the team was really strong, and it's like you don't really have a chance to kind of like screw up when you're busy.
Yeah.
So like we were just stay busy, and the team would just kind of stay crushing it. And then like Lebo started to slip, so I like pulled me back up there, and it's kind of been like that since. Where it's like back and forth, and yeah.
Now, I mean, obviously the Lebo location is no longer, and you guys moved over to Dormont.
Yeah.
When did you guys open in Dormont?
So I opened up in Dormont July of 23.
Now, where's that decision come from? Like,
yeah, so the Mount Lebanon spot that was going to be my forever spot. Like I had a really good relationship with the landlord, and I had told them, I had been asking them for years, like I want to buy the building, because for me it's like, you know, to pay my people accordingly and to buy the ingredients that I wanted to buy. You know, it made sense to own the building that way. It's just better to own the building.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because it's like the hot water tank goes down, there's like $2,000. Like the furnace, every summer the AC went down, it was like $5,000. It's just like always just something. And if you own the building, you're putting that $5,000 like from this pocket to this pocket,
yeah,
as opposed to just like throwing it off the bridge.
Yeah.
You know? So I was finally like, hey guys, like, can I start paying for this building? Can we come up with a deal so I could, you know, have this property? And they were basically like, it's not for sale. You know, it's going to stay in the family.
Yeah.
And it's not available to you.
Yeah.
And so
that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, it was but I was just like, at that point I was just kind of like, all right, I can just stay renting and still have a successful business and just stay renting. I mean, the business could support the rent. It was super high.
Yeah.
But like it could support the rent. It was like not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But to me, it was also exciting to like do a new place and like find a new location and like start from scratch again.
So where did the hunt start? Like,
yeah,
like,
I mean,
did you have ideas on where you wanted that?
Yeah, I mean, at first it was like, let's move across the street in Mount Lebanon. Like, I really wanted to be in the Potomac Bakery spot that was like right across the street from me.
Yeah.
And they had closed during COVID, and I had looked at that spot and I had like really tried to make that work. And it would have been cool because it would have just been a little takeout spot. Like it wouldn't have had the seats. So like that was the first spot. It was like, all right, let's try that. That didn't work. I had like a piece of property under contract in Castle Shannon that was like another small little building that would have been really cool, like right down from like 88, like Mindful area. But then that ended up falling through. And during COVID, I had met the dude, Nick, who owned Campedi's Pizza, where I'm at now. And
that place that you're at now was a pizza place?
Yeah, it was called Campedi's. And it was also around since the 50s. It was a legendary South Hills like spot. And I met him during COVID, just kind of like, we would just like chop it up about like, what the fuck is going on and like what are we doing and like how are we doing it, and like so I like had a couple conversations with him, and he just kind of seemed like he was like checked out and he was like ready to like hang it up. And then I saw that it went on the market, but I like couldn't like wrap my head around that spot. I was like, Dormont? No.
Why though? Like, I'm curious.
What do you mean?
Why couldn't you like why couldn't you wrap your mind around that spot specifically? Because I feel like, you know, it's kind of a good area as far as like, you know, foot traffic.
Right.
It's built up a little bit now, especially with like you got Moonlit and everything there now. But like as a business owner looking at these places, like what deterred you?
Yeah, so when it first went on the market, it was really high.
Oh, okay.
And it was just like, you know, at the time, like, you know, I think it was like 700,000.
Yeah, that's insane.
And it was kind of like, all right, you know, the bank will probably be cool with this, but like, I was just kind of like, I don't know. It just, when I saw the number, I was just kind of like, it didn't really come together for me. I was just kind of like,
Besides the number, though.
yeah, I was just kind of like, no, because we used to like loaf in Dormont. Like we would I was always cool with Dormont, and like, it's so close. Like we were literally like less than 1 mile away from the old shop. I knew my customers were going to come there. But like, I was still thinking like, at the time I was like still thinking like Mount Lebanon, Castle Shannon.
Yeah.
There's like 2 places in Castle Shannon that were like maybes. And then like one day I was just kind of like, had thought about Nick, the guy that owned it. And I reached out to a homie that used to work for him. And I was just like, hey, link me with Nick. I lost his number. Like, I want to just like talk to him and see like where his head's at with this property.
Was it running while like?
Yeah, he was open.
Okay, yeah.
And so I just called him up and was like, hey, like, where are you at with this property? And like, where are you at with this business? Like, are you trying to, are you like, do you want to make a deal and like get out of here and move on with your life? Or do you want to like play games about this number, you know? And so, he was like, well, come down here and take a peek and see what you think, you know? So I went in there and just like literally walked through a place and I was like, this is me. Like, everything's here. Like,
I love it in there.
It's a killer spot.
It's a sick vibe.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Got a little window there too.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, I mean, honestly,
cool.
like Pizza Man being in the window, done.
Well, I thought it was cool because one of the things that I remember from our first conversation back whenever COVID happened is you were like, you know, thank God Northside is set up the way that it was.
Yeah.
Because it originally was made for a slice shop where you could just dish it out the window, right?
Well, the Pizza Man was in the window there, and the initial design was like, do we keep the Pizza Man in the window? And if I were to make every pizza there and I were to work every shift there, I am not afraid to work in the window all day long. Yeah. But if I'm going to employ people,
not everyone wants to do that.
Not everybody wants to be in the window on Federal Street where like it could potentially be dicey on Federal Street at any given time. Yeah. And and when I first got the keys on Federal Street, there was 2 bullet holes in my storefront.
Really?
So it was just kind of like, I don't want to, I don't, that's not a risk I'm willing to take.
That's fair.
So we put the pizza station, you know, towards the middle, but yeah, no, Dormont was just like, everything was set up. I like, you know, brought my professionals in to check the plumbing and the electric and the roof. And like, I put a team together and we renovated the space in like 45 days.
Did you have to do a bunch of shit in there?
No. I mean, we basically like cleaned the place. We put down a new floor. We painted. I brought all new equipment in. We rebuilt the counter, put up a bunch of tile, and like updated both of the bathrooms. I mean, it was all like cosmetic stuff. Yeah. But it was like, I had already done that before. I had, you know, it was fun for me to do like another job, like pick out the tile and pick out the colors and stuff and just like get the pictures situated and like create the new vibe at this new spot. And like, in my opinion, like, you know, you could go into a place and have like really good pizza. But like, I think that like one of the ingredients to really good food is like the atmosphere and the vibe and the, and just the way that you feel when you walk into that space. And so it was like, let's create something that like is familiar, but like also like kind of timeless and like cozy. And then just like, let's just do the pizza like how we've like been doing it, you know? Yeah. And then, like at that time we kind of like upgraded all of our stuff too. Like I had gotten into like new dough things.
New dough things.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, like you guys kind of like getting that spot rolling. What was the feedback with the move?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like Dormont people were like hyped about it. Yeah. Like Mount Lebanon people were like kind of mad about it because like there's just like this weird like class thing for some reason. Not with everybody, but like there's like a contingent of people in Mount Lebanon that like have this class thing where they're like, they think that like Dormont folks are like lesser than or something like that. Yeah. And they're like, I don't want to go to Potomac Avenue. Like, we should be on Washington Road, you know?
I get it. But I would assume that, like, you know, after being there and like being established for, you know, 7 years, that it's like, you know, that it's just an idea. People want that there.
Yeah.
That's their spot.
So that's the thing, dude. We were in Mount Lebanon for 13 years before we moved. So it was just like, we had already like stood the test of time per se, you know, like we had already proved ourselves to the neighborhood. We had already like won the customers over, pissed them off, won them back. And like, you know, like the whole gamut, like we like did it there. And then it was just kind of like, yeah, people were upset. I mean, because, you know, the other big positive up there in Washington Road was just like the foot traffic was great. It's a walking school district. So like the kids, it was just like on there. It was like part of their routine, you know.
Yeah.
It was like come home from school, stop in, grab a slice, go get candy at the place across the street, go get a coffee. Like we were like so ingrained in the neighborhood, and we did everything like for the kids, like the schools. We were like brown bag lunches. Like we were so ingrained in the neighborhood, but it was just like time to switch it up.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's understandable as like, you know, now that I feel like that's what's valuable about the podcast is like you come in and you have these business owners like tell, you know, the reasons on why that like, you know, you move after 13 years. It's like you try to stay there.
Yeah.
But if it's not meant to be, that you got to pivot and you got to do the best you can.
Yeah. And like, honestly, like after like opening Federal Street and seeing how that went, and then after like, you know, after COVID hit and we like came out the other end feeling like pretty strong and like pivoted and did whatever we did to like manage that whole situation, I was just like, we can do whatever at this point. Like let's go open up in New York. Like we could do whatever. You know?
I mean, I get it, dude. It's cool to hear that.
Yeah.
You know, just because, like I said, people have all these like probably like preconceived notions on like why you're doing stuff, why you're moving out, and whether it be the people up there or not. It's just like, it's interesting to hear, you know, how the chips fall after all this stuff.
Yeah.
Now, you said you opened there 23.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, you know, everything pretty much is, you know, business as usual. It's just every time I'm in there, dude, it's bumping.
Yeah. I mean, we you know, we have our moments where we're like chilling, but like and it's not quite as busy as Federal Street is at the moment, but like we had a huge year, like 23 into 24. It was like getting people to recognize that we moved and like introducing ourselves to the neighborhood and like maybe like fixing some of the initial fumbles that we might have had with like, you know, being really busy right off the start and like pissing people off on the back of like some burnt pizza type shit or like some like late pizza type shit.
Yeah. Working out the kinks.
Yeah. And like we got a new oven and I kind of switched like my whole like baking situation at the new spot. And like was able to link with a company out of Ohio that had been bringing these ovens in from Italy, and they've had this relationship with this oven company in Italy that's been around for over 100 years. And we were able to link with them and bring one of these ovens in, and it was like one of the first ovens of its kind in Pittsburgh that bakes pizza. Like these ovens, you know, you can find one of these ovens like in the back at Mancini's down in the Rocks. It's like it's not an old, it's an Italian electric oven. So we brought like one in to Dormont and it took me like a year and a half to kind of figure out exactly how we had to like switch a bunch of stuff up.
Yeah.
So I'm like about to drop one on Federal Street. I'm really excited.
One of them ovens?
Yeah.
That's sick.
Big one.
Yeah, a big one. That's dope. I mean, yeah, man. I mean, I could say till I'm blue in the face on here, but like, I'm a big fan of it. Everything you guys do.
Thank you.
And I think that carries over with like, you know, pretty much all of Pittsburgh. You obviously have the people that love the standard slices that everyone knows, but like, I don't know, dude, there's something different happening with you guys.
Yeah. I mean, I love that you think that. I mean, I like to think that I mean, like I said, it just really comes down to just like care and like finding the right ingredients, and and like treating those with care and spending like as much time as you can, like thinking about the dough. Like it's the number one thing.
I mean, honestly, that's really what it is. It's like, I feel like, you know, as a consumer, I would probably know if like you guys switch some cheeses and everything, but the fucking dough is like really where everything comes like, down to me.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, same. Like that's where it starts, right? Like if you can get that right, you know, there's a lot of good tomatoes on the market. You could find a good tomato. There's a handful of really good cheese companies that you could put a blend together.
Yeah.
But it starts with the dough.
Yeah.
And it's like the hardest thing to manage.
Yeah, I mean, but it's once you get it fine tuned, it's like you know, it's a process. It's good. Now I got to ask you this, and I have to bring it up. Now Dave Portnoy came into the city.
Yeah.
Okay, he does all the pizzas reviews, One Bite reviews.
Right.
And it was, you know, there was talks going around that he was going to be coming in the city,
right? And
everyone's like, here's a list that everyone had their own list that they think he was going to go visit. And he hit some of the other names, but you know, where do you think he didn't end up coming to Badamo?
Right. Yeah, he didn't come.
Why do you think that this happened? Were you salty about this?
I mean, you know,
I want a real answer.
Yeah, I mean, truth, real talk.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to make him a pizza, you know. But do I like value his like, you know, I don't love Dave Portnoy. I don't love Barstool.
Yeah, I'm not like
but like you know, I'm not stupid to think that like a review from him would turn into dollar bills, you know? But like, I'm also just kind of like we stay busy, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and like some of these places that he's hit, like they can handle an extra 20% because they're like not busy, you know?
Yeah.
And like for me and my team to add 20% onto what we're already doing, like would have been very difficult.
Yeah.
So like,
it's almost a blessing.
I mean, it's like, I don't know. Like the way it worked is like, of course I know all those guys that he went to, like, of course they all like called me and text me on a regular basis about anything pizza related. So like I heard the day before that he was going to be in town. Right. And so it was like, dope. Like he's going to be at Stage AE. Well, I'm going to do like my morning in Dormont. And then I'm going to like slide down the north side. And, you know, we heard like, you know, I had heard this in the past, but it was like, if you get a phone call from this number with this area code and this dude, Austin, who's his you know, cameraman.
Is that how it happens? Like that you guys supposedly get a call beforehand?
Well, he just calls to order a large cheese.
Okay.
You know, so, but it's like, keep an eye out because you'll get a call from this area code and the name is Austin.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, cool. That's easy enough. You know, if it comes through, my people are answering the phone or I'm answering the phone, whoever.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, you know, large cheese. All right, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long it's going to take. And then you like kind of plan out how you want it to shake out, you know? And so I got a call that morning from a guy who runs another pizzeria, like way outside of the city. And he was like, hey, he was just here and you're on his list. And I was like, cool. Like I kind of figured I would be, because like when he came like 3 or 4 years ago, like my DM, like my, like, I was getting tagged like crazy the first time he came here. And so I was ready that time.
Was that whenever he was at Minio's?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So like my shit was going crazy that day, like 3 or 4 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
They were like, you're going to see him, like be ready. And we're like, dude, like we stay ready. Like we stay cooking, bro. Like
stay ready.
I don't have to do any sort of like magic type shit to like put out a good cheese pie for this dude. I'm just like, I'm confident in like our cheese pie to begin with. So like, but it would have been dope to like make one for him. So like, yeah. So that day it was like, Anthony, you're on the list. Keep an eye out. Cool. Sounds good. And then like he went to another place. And then like when he finished up there, yo, Anth, he just left here. Keep an eye out, blah, blah, blah. And it was like all day long, like my phone was going. Like,
so it must have been a time constraint.
Well, it was just kind of like everybody was just losing their shit, you know? And like, and everybody was like calling me like, is he there? When's he coming? Is he coming? Blah, blah, blah. And then like, I have like people in like Philly and like Cleveland and like New York who I know and who were like, it's time. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, like, you know,
so like basically he went to a couple places that are like really far out of the city because like people like begged him to go out there, and like went crazy on the internet about it. So like, you know, from what I heard, and like I know people at like Stage AE who hit me up too and were like, boys here, like. So like dude spent like all this time in the car and then like had the event and like probably just was just like, it ain't happening. Like we can't get it. We can't get there, you know?
And the only reason I like, you know, just to make it clear, the only reason that I bring it up and I ask it, I think it's more for the people who love your pizza, because
totally.
Like, every person in the city has their pizza spot.
100%.
You know, and it's like, you know, to have him pull up there and like, I ain't a fucking Barstool guy. I don't even drink. I'm not the demographic. But to have him pull up to a place is like, you know, just acknowledging the place that you hold in your heart.
Yeah,
and
totally.
it's like, I'm like, what the fuck, dude? That's disrespectful as fuck.
No, I mean, bro, like people were like going crazy on the internet and like, you know, like one of the homies out at one of the other pizza places, he like said some stuff online like, oh, you should have went and saw Anthony. And then like the boy Hal from Post Gazette like wrote that follow-up article about it. Did you read that?
No.
He like did a follow-up article about it and was just like, Dave Portnoy comes to Pittsburgh. What does that mean? And like, who did he miss or something like that? Yeah. And he just like wrote this really awesome review, like piece about just like the state of Pittsburgh. And he like said a ton of like really nice things about the pizza shop. It was just kind of like, he blew it. Like he should have came here first. Yeah. As like a jump off point, you know? Yeah. So that, I mean, that was like cool because like as many people as like Portnoy would have brought in, like my people and like my customer base is like hyper local, like Pittsburgh people. Hell yeah. Who like, you know, watch QED when like Rick goes off on Badamos and like reads the paper whenever Hal like says what's up about Pittsburgh pizza and like mentions me. So it was just kind of like
the people who know about Badamo, they know like, about it
totally.
Already. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, you know, like I said, like real talk, like it'd have been dope to make a pie for him. And I'm sure we will at some point. Yeah. You know,
I know that I know there was a couple other people that even threw you out in the video. It's like, you got to hit Badamos.
Yeah. Right.
And, I mean, like, I feel
like he said, or like dope. His homie or Austin, the guy that was filming, I guess like said the names of the places he was going to. Oh yeah, and said that, you know,
dude was like, and that's, and I get it. That's dope though. I mean, like people real recognize real. That's what it is. Yeah. But I thought that was you know, I was waiting for it as well. Yeah. As a lot of other people, I bet. Yeah. But like you said, I mean, like, I mean, that ain't gonna sway me. I'm gonna be there all the time getting a slice. Yeah. But now, whenever you, I mean, this is interesting because where you are right now, you got the new spot, you got Federal Streets too. I mean, like, what are like the goals for you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, right now the goal is just to like stay relevant, stay on top, and like continue to like try to make really good pizza. Like stay focused on the dough. You know, we're about to do this little upgrade on Federal Street, which will be like super exciting because we're baking a little bit differently in this oven, which means the dough is going to be a little bit different. And just like really recognizing like the little nuanced things that we need to really focus on to like stay making good pizza for everybody.
Yeah.
So like I don't have any plans to like open any other stores really. You know, people are always like hitting me up like, there's this spot and there's that spot in this neighborhood and that neighborhood, and like you should be here, and like I will help you be here, and like, but like I don't have any partners, and like I don't like deal with anybody else's money. So like if I can't swing it, it's, and dude, like running 2 businesses is just like really hard.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
You're only one man.
yeah, that, and like the staff, you know, it's just hard managing like a bunch of people's personalities, and, you know, running places that are like busy, you know, it's just like, we just want to try our absolute best to like satisfy like everybody that comes in every day. This is like a long game. Like we're, you know, at this point, it's like I just like can't even believe it's been 15 years, and like,
Dude, it's incredible.
if we get to 20, like I'm just gonna like check out, bro. Like like 20, like what else?
I
you
mean,
know?
like it's dope because, you know, I mean, it's incredible because you see so many places closing.
I
and
know,
it's just
dude,
like,
it's so sad.
it is. It's so sad.
But I get it though. It's like a lot of times we see these places close and we think like, oh damn, they weren't busy, or we think like, oh, they don't have money, all like that. But like a lot of the reason places are closing is just because it's fucking hard to stay open.
Yeah.
Like it's just hard to do this. Like it's hard to cook a lot of food on time for a lot of customers. Like at its basic, like at its base, it's just hard to cook a lot of food nice and right for a lot of people. And that's why it hurts so bad whenever we see these places that we really like close. I mean, I don't know, maybe they fumble their money, but like a lot of times, like, you know, like these guys that just closed, they're just like over it. You know what I mean? They're just kind of like, we're done.
Yeah,
this
dude.
is fun.
It's crazy because there's people like, you know, Oak Hill Post.
That's what I'm saying.
Perfect example. I mean, like absolutely bonkers
Place
for breakfast
crazy
service.
delicious. Yeah.
I mean, like all their food, their dessert, their dinners, absolutely all insane.
Yep.
But it's like some people, you know, I'm reading their comments on the post of them closing, and you got people talking out of the side of their fucking necks, like, you know, you guys should have stayed doing breakfast and everything like that. And being friends with the owner Christian and like talking to him about everything, he's just like, you know, that dude was like an incredible chef before he started just making breakfast.
Right.
So it's like, you know, he gets stuck in this rhythm, and I don't want to even speak for him, but like from my assumption is like, you know, it's a creative. He puts himself in a creative box. Like he can't be creative, and it's not like, you know, fulfilling in that way. Yeah, dude could have flipped it back and just started running breakfast and just had a line out the door every single day like he did. Yeah, but he wanted to do things that were, you know, more creative, and you know, he just. Like you said, it's just hard to do it.
Totally. And I think like at a certain point in time, like an owner or operator that like really like understands what's going on is like able to ask themselves like some like really hard questions. And like, you know, those questions are like, what do I want? Like what does my artistic shit want? Like I could stay making money flipping burgers or making breakfast sandwiches, and they will be the best breakfast sandwiches in the city, but like he's an artistic dude, and like he's probably just like he's already like probably like on some like new shit,
dude. Whenever I talked to him, whenever I interviewed him in the beginning, like his old pop-up menuette that he did, he was telling me about how he was making menus that correlated with sound waves and like all this shit, and you're like, this dude's stuck in a kitchen making just breakfast sandwiches. Like, you know, it's just, you know, it's creatively not free for him. But and that's understandable, and I feel like that there's nothing but respect for people that wanted to, you know, have, you know, like you said, they had to line out the door every single day. To have the respect to want to kind of switch it up and do things differently and just, you know, kind of pop out. It's like nothing but respect for those people that do it. For anyone that has any sort of spot, whether it be a restaurant, whether it be any business. It's just like, you know, the consumer just has one thought about how things are going. And like I said, that's what this podcast is for, dude. It's just like talking to people about how the sausage is made.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, the misconception is that like the general public or like somebody who enjoys breakfast sandwiches or somebody that enjoys pizza thinks like this place opens up and they need to be open for 100 years.
Yeah. like
they need to be here, like they just need to exist forever. And it's like, that's not cool, because like those expectations are hard to live up to. And a restaurant doesn't need to be open forever. A restaurant needs to do the best that it can every day. And then whenever the restaurant owner or whenever the vibe has depleted or has gone away, or whenever, you know, then it's time to move on. Like, and it's okay. Like, it's sad because we've lost so many great restaurants in the last like 5 or 6 years, like a bunch of institutions and shit. But like, I'm never really that mad, because I'm just like, damn, like I know what 15 years is like, but I'm like, damn, 30 years, like really, you were like flipping burgers or like, you know, whatever for like you and your family for like 30 years. Like, yeah, that's dude, crazy.
You get into a regular 9-to-5 job, and after 5 years, you're like, dude, I'm just doing the same shit.
I know.
And I mean, I don't know. That's it's dope to hear from people's point of view, like yourself, because you know it's a refreshing thing to hear. You know why you do what you do.
Yeah.
Why you choose to make the moves that you make and everything, and it's awesome. And that's why people get pissed whenever Portnoy don't pull up.
I know, dude. Yeah, but I know. Like, yeah, I mean, like I said, it is what it is. Like,
but honestly, forget the Portnoy and the Barstool shit. You had even a better, act of validation with Sebak pulling up. Bro. I mean, like, you got to tell me how this happens, because Rick Sebak is an institution in the city of Pittsburgh.
100%.
For people, I mean, everyone knows that.
I mean, for the most part, everybody knows, especially folks who are like 30-ish and older, you know? Yeah, I mean, Rick, like, thankfully, like, Rick's been a customer since like probably like 2 years after I opened. His family, his mom at the time was living out in the South Hills, and he passed by, and we had mutual friends, and he came in and he thought it was good, so he started coming, and he would like pass by, and we would see him every couple months, for a long time. And then he did like a piece on the Pittsburgh vintage mixer, like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago, something like that. And we used to do food for the mixer when it was in Lawrenceville. So we were like making pizza. So he like did a little like 8-minute segment on us making pizza at the Pittsburgh vintage mixer. And so we knew Rick, we knew Frank. Like, we were like, I thought that was like, I was like, all right, I'm on, like, I have a little snippet on a Sebak special, like goals. Like, I'm good. Like,
goals.
Everything's cool. Like, And then, I moved to Dormont, and he started coming like pretty regularly. And like, he just pulled me aside one day, and he was like, hey, he's like, me and Frank want to do like a short like documentary on Badamos. And I was like, what? He's like, what'd you say? What do you mean? And he was like, well, I want to just do like a little story about, you guys and like what you do and how you do it. And I want to talk to customers, and I want to talk to you, and I want to talk to your staff, and I want to spend a day on Federal Street and a day on Dormont, and we want to compile, what we see during those 2 days. And it was like super organic, you know what I mean? Like, we just, like, we opened the door, we were cooking like normal, and then him and his boy Frank were just there filming and talking throughout the day. And dude, it was just like, it came really easy. My staff was just like, they loved it. It was really easy to talk to Rick. My customers were like super enthusiastic about like talking about the product.
Hell yeah.
Just like being like also hyped to be like involved in a Sebak situation, I
mean, is there any other sort of like, accolade that you could want than having Rick Sebak come and highlight your business?
I mean, locally, I've been fortunate enough to get like some love from like across, a handful of different like media platforms, and like always just like super blessed anytime anybody talks about Badamos to like anybody. But like Rick is just like such a legend, and he just comes from such a pure spot. And the thing about Rick is that like he's really good at just like just like telling it. He's really good at like documenting the moment, like when he's at Kennywood, he documented those moments that day at Kennywood, and it was just so real. So that was like the cool thing. It was just like him filming at the pizza shop was just like what we do every day. So it was like cool for like the folks that got to see that program, like what it's like to just be like waiting for a slice of Badamos,
Hell yeah.
Because like we had some customers that were just like wilding out, and like dude, just some funny stuff was happening.
It is wild.
But yeah, no, I mean, dude, it was just like, honestly, like for like months after it came out online, and we got like a nice little bump from it. And Rick didn't really know what was going to happen because QED like kind of switched up their management.
Yeah.
And so he was just like, it's out online, and it did really well. Like right off the rip, it had like a ton of views. And I was just kind of like, if it's just going to be on YouTube, that's still dope. Like whatever. And then like a couple days before Christmas, he texted me and was just like, hey, keep an eye out. It's going to be out on QED or like PBS or whatever.
Unreal.
And I was just like, all right, dope. So then it was like, I had family in town for Christmas. So, and like all my people, like so we all like watched it again, like after a couple months. And then we got like another wave of folks that don't go on YouTube that just still watch PBS.
Yeah,
like,
dude, that's incredible.
And it'd be like, like your grandparents, like a couple that's like, in their 70s or their 80s are like, we drove down from Latrobe because we heard, Rick came here, and we were like, let's eat.
Yeah,
like,
that's so good. That's the best.
But yeah, no, dude, that was unbelievable.
Do you guys have like, any other big names that pull up? I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, so tomorrow, I'm cooking. Me and my boys down on Federal Street, we're making a bunch of food for some folks that are like, the mayor's going to be there, like some folks in some city political type stuff is going on with that. And yeah, we see like, the folks from the news all the time. We see like sportscasters.
That's what's up.
We see.
You got your hand in any of them film sets that be pulling up around here?
Yeah. So we've fed a bunch, because they were doing a bunch of filming on the north side last year. The guys were filming up in Mount Lebanon. We were seeing them. Yeah, I mean, that's the cool thing about us, dude, is just like, there's like no pretension. There's no bullshit. It's just like, they know who to call, They
know who to call. Come in, like, let's eat.
They just call us, and like, we show love, and then we like send some extra stuff to make them happy, and we just like keep it moving.
Yeah,
like,
dude. And even like whenever my boy John from Odd Pittsburgh was down and out with the health problems,
those two episodes,
I appreciate that. Insane. You got to pull up to a Bottle Rocket show one time.
I know.
They're even more insane, because it's like a hour and 40 minute of just mania.
Yeah.
With me, it's like, I envision it as him being like a wild stallion running through a field, and me just jumping on, trying to rein it in. Trying to rein it in a little bit.
Well, I mean, for the record, you both did an outstanding job on those episodes.
I appreciate you, bro. But like, even even whenever I hit you up about that like benefit bus, you always just like always treat me well, and I
Dude,
appreciate it all
same.
the time.
I mean, since we first met and you put me on back when, like, all love, all love. I respect what you're doing here. I tap in at least twice a month, if not 3 times a month.
I love it. I respect
just to see what's going on, because some of my homies have been on here, and I love hearing about what else is going on. And I found out one of my cousins came on here.
Which one?
Amico.
Oh my, that's your cousin?
So I didn't know that, and he didn't know that, and we didn't know any of it. I didn't even know who he was.
Oh man, for people who are listening, Amico DiMuzio, he is a steel guitar player for Charles Wesley Godwin's band. Dude, the man.
Yeah, so I met him at a family reunion, and everybody was like, so I guess he performed on like, did he perform on Late Night?
Yeah, dude.
Okay, so he performed on Late Night, and like this Sebak thing had just came out. So at this reunion, you know, the old heads who put it together, who I'm like not even really involved with, but they were like, "Oh, we're gonna show the Sebak thing at the reunion," and I was like, "What?" And they were like, "Yeah, and we're also gonna show your cousin Amico's performance on Late Night," and I was like, "Who is this?"
Dude.
So I met him there,
animal.
and we're somehow related, and I thought that was wild.
So sick.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's super small.
Pittsburgh's super small, just a bunch of great people doing great
Yeah,
shit.
right.
I just saw him. He performed up in a place called Woolly Bullies in New Brighton the other day.
Oh, cool.
It was just him and a few other people, just like absolutely just like catching a vibe, just
Right,
like playing some Grateful Dead shit and everything.
That's cool.
But yeah, dude, a lot of great
Nice.
people around this city.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough to be able to
you've had
talk
them
to all
all.
these
Yeah.
people. We're cruising along, almost at 300. It's wild. Now, like you said before, you know, business as usual with the new spot you guys just
Yeah.
opened, relatively new. But you know, what do you do on your downtime?
Yeah, so I mean, you know, I have a girlfriend. We chill. We do as much fun stuff as we can do. What else do I do? I've been like doing some work on my house, like little things around the house, and I like do some like property stuff on the side. I've like been fortunate to like save some money and like buy property and like try to fix up these dumps and maybe try to sell them maybe or rent them. Yeah, that sort of thing.
You're doing
I like
some
doing
shit.
that.
You watch shows and stuff like that? Are you a big show guy?
I'm like, yeah. I mean, yes. Like we're kind of like rewatching Dexter. She never saw it, so we're watching that. That's that's great. But I watch like a lot of like stuff on YouTube. Like I follow like channels on like historic renovation type stuff. I follow
That's dope.
pizza channels. Like I'm like a lot of like Italian type stuff. I'm like kind of trying to learn Italian.
Trying to learn Italian. That's the best. All right. You think there's anything I missed?
No, dude. I mean,
Pretty thorough.
yeah, dude, this was great. I like feel like I just was rambling. I'm like talking the whole time.
Nah, brother, you're I'm a cowboy, baby. I'm wrangling all these people that are just like
yeah.
running through a field.
Hey, man.
But all right, so ending segment that I do with everyone is an ending segment called Desert Island Questions. All right, Desert Island Questions. Whenever I give each guest 3 categories to take with them on a desert island and use until they starve to death and die, along with some extra questions as well. First category, 3 movies to take with you on a desert island. If you had to choose 3 to watch over and over and over again for the rest of your life, what would they be? I'll allow shows if you want shows.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Movies like I like this Cassavetes film called Husbands. That's like a really killer film. I like dude, like
I put everyone on the spot.
I know, like I'm like just really not good with like absolutes. You know what I mean? Like,
That's all right.
Probably.
Everyone thinks that this question, I have so many people that will answer it and then they'll hit me up later and be like, I can't believe I didn't say this.
Well, that's
or
the thing, dude. It's like I love film and I love movies and I love comedy and all that stuff. And I'm like, how could I pick 3? I mean, like, can I bring my like Apple TV and just like be able to? No, but I like Cassavetes stuff. I like, I love some of the like the Italian mob genre stuff.
Are you a Casino or Goodfellas guy?
Probably Goodfellas.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's usually everyone picks it.
Yeah, I mean Casino is great too. Yeah, I don't know. Jurassic Park.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer. All right, so second category, I usually ask people books, but I'm going to throw something different at you.
Okay.
So if you didn't get to pick your pizza to eat,
Right.
what pizza place around the city do you go to?
In Pittsburgh?
Yeah, around the city, yeah.
Yeah, like all the ones that like I haven't really tried the other a lot of the places in Pittsburgh that are like kind of maybe popular right now. Like I'll probably hit like Beato's once a year.
Hell yeah.
I will hit SPAC like once a year. They're my homies.
Still have not. I need to link up with them.
Yeah.
I've had people hit me up and tell me I have to get over there.
Cool.
And get with them as well. So I got to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like for Pittsburgh pizza, I'm more into like the places that like I like the old school like square places like Sam's Pizza in Cannonsburg.
Hell yeah.
Or like Police Station
story.
Pizza.
Police Station,
or Frank's in Ambridge, or I really want to go to De La Sala's that's like out east, I think.
Is that
it's
towards
like
Plum?
a garage, dude. It's
Is that
like
towards Plum?
I actually don't know exactly where it's at. I think it's out east, and it's like a garage that like is like they've been doing their thing forever. And it's like a square cut joint.
I like that.
But like I've been going to Cleveland a bunch, and there's some like outstanding pizza in Cleveland.
You got to put. I'm about to be there in about a couple
I'll
weeks.
Put you onto a couple. Like,
you got to
really
put me onto a couple good spots. Okay, that's good. Third category, not to make you sweat trying to make decisions.
Yeah.
CDs, and I'll make it easy for you. I want to know your first CD that you bought.
Okay.
What was that?
The first CD that I bought was the Blue Album by Weezer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, classic.
Yeah.
Come on.
It was like 94. I was like 12 years old.
Everything was right in the world.
Tell me about it, bro.
Now, if you had to pick like, a couple other, like just throw a couple.
Humor me. Like favorite albums or whatever.
Just something that you always throw on. I have to tell you, the boys in the shop yesterday had on some, I think it was called like, but it was a Bonomo monkey. It was like Bonobo, yeah. Dude was playing this, and I was vibing.
Oh
my god! I had to ask him what it was. I was like, "Who is this?" He was like, "This is the Boiler Room set." And
cool.
Everyone in there, dude. There was a dude there was a husband and wife with their kid. He's rocking his head.
Right.
Me and my wife are eating slices, just bobbing our head.
Dope.
The other dudes were bobbing their head. I was like, "Who is this?"
Yeah, Bonobo is like he's a DJ. He's got a good vibe. Like the Boiler Room set. If it's the one that I think it is, that's a killer set.
Dude, I'm not even usually that keen to that type of music, but I just could not stop bobbing my head. I was vibing.
Yeah, see, like I think like, I love like rock music and guitar music, and like I love oldies. Like I love like last year I got really into like old like Sinatra adjacent like singers like Jimmy Roselli and like that whole like early like kind of crooner vibe, but like ultimately like I mean I listen to like DJ sets a lot like that, so like different DJs like house music type stuff where they'll play like an hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours worth of a set, and it's really.
I've honestly never done that, and today at work I just like put on some random shit, and was just like kind of vibing to that a little bit. But I'm into it. I'm gonna delve a little bit further.
I mean,
deep
see,
down
dude,
there.
like that little experience that you had made that pizza taste better.
I swear to God, it did. Dude. I was because it was
like it's part of it. It's a package deal.
Like you said, the vibe. I mean, the food is great, but the vibe got to be great too. That's what it is. Okay, give me one more CD that you love.
Like I'm just gonna like blanket like Sade, like anything Sade related.
Okay.
Is just like is everything for me.
That's a great answer for me. I like that. Okay, next question. Best concert you've ever been to?
I've seen so many good ones. I could talk to you about some like bullshit, like obscure, like punk band that I saw forever that changed my life. But like honestly, I saw Paul Anka. Do you know who Paul Anka is? I saw Paul Anka in Atlantic City like 6 months ago.
Oh yeah,
and it was a legendary show.
Did you ever listen to that Paul Anka album with all the covers? With like he has like an album with like Nirvana and stuff.
But he performed the Nirvana song, which I thought was like kind of wild, just because his Dude, his set, it was like so deep. Like that dude wrote songs for everybody.
Yeah, I'm not even like real hip to it. I recently just got hip to this listening to another podcast.
Yeah.
And it was insane.
If you scroll through,
Bill Burr actually put me on to it.
did you hear about the Bill Burr thing that just went down
No, what's that?
with Billy Corgan?
Oh yeah, I did see that. That was so funny. Was that real?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's
Crazy, right?
Did you watch the video?
I saw the clip.
Yeah, it was. They were kind of like
It was
there's
like
some
they were
tension.
static
in
there,
a little bit. Yeah, it's like kind of strange.
That
but,
was wild.
Well, they look identical.
I
So
know.
I mean, like they're both Bills.
He was like, "What the hell is he doing here?"
It was so funny. I thought it was a joke at first.
Me too.
I thought they were like, oh yeah, you guys look the same. You're both named Bill. But then he was talking about that, and I was like, oh, all right.
It's like Howie Mandel just like trying to stay relevant.
I
Like,
know.
stir the pot.
I know, but sometimes I like what he does. But most of the time, he's kind of annoying to me. But
Yeah.
I loved Little Monsters, so he always have a place in my
Oh,
heart.
100%, dude. Bobby's World? Are you kidding me?
Bobby's World, come on. All right, so our third to last category is the death row meal.
Okay.
So death row meal, you get an appetizer, main course, and a dessert. What are they?
So appetizer would probably, honestly, would just be like a salad. The way that my mom sets up a salad, she it's the way that we start every meal. Fresh veggies, it's just some sort of like dialed in vinaigrette that that she whips up. It's never really the same.
She's got that touch.
She's got the touch, yeah, whether it's like apple cider vinegar or balsamic or red wine or lemon or whatever. And it's just like, yeah, it's about the items in the salad. And then, I'm just going to have to, it's going to have to just stay Italian. It's probably just like a pasta dish that they whip up between her and my dad. And then the ricotta pie that she makes, which is basically like an Italian cheesecake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mother made a very low quality version of it whenever I was growing up. It was still banging though.
What, the ricotta pie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, it's not that many things there. It could come together pretty easily.
Yeah, it was simple, but it was good though. Banging.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be home cooking, right? For me, I mean, maybe for everybody, but for me, like, it's not like about some steak and like this like legendary New York steakhouse or whatever. It's like about like, yeah, it's about the family,
Yeah, hell yeah. All right, so second to last question. You're getting ready to go on a road trip. You go into a gas station. What's a snack of choice?
I'm getting like some sort of bubbly water. I'm getting, if they have Wild Bill's chaw,
Yeah, in the can.
I'm getting that first, but they don't have that anymore. But if they did, I'm getting that. If they don't have it, I'm getting Wild Bill's,
The side chew cut.
the kit, Yeah.
Like, kit.
if they don't have that, I'm going for like Jack Link's.
Oh, it's good.
And then like combos, pizzeria or pepperoni pizza or pizzeria combos, right?
It's silly how many people pick combos on here.
It's like it's like ingrained, like snack, like savory snack.
Yeah.
It's like
as a kid,
combos.
That was like what I would go to all the time. And whenever I think of that, I think of like the glass Gatorade, lemon bottle.
Yeah.
But like I used to fuck with combos heavy. I can't tell you the last time I got them, but I'm gonna get them for my road trip going to Cleveland.
I don't think I would want any of the other combos. It would have to be the pretzel pizzeria one, right?
Yeah. Gotta be, right?
Yeah. Not the.
That's a good
one's
answer.
Cracker, right?
Yeah, no one wants that trash. No. Okay, last question. If you could have a conversation with anyone alive or dead, who would it be and why? And if you could, don't make it a loved one.
Yeah. Maybe I would want to make a pizza for and talk to Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah, he's probably the most chosen answer on here.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people have picked him.
Yeah,
which is understandable for sure.
Yeah, obviously they're you could talk to a million different people. I don't know, like
That's all right.
That could be cool.
Don't feel no pressure.
Yeah.
There's no thinking too far into it.
Right.
That's why I don't tell people these questions ahead of time. So they're driving here thinking of the perfect
you hit
answer.
me with a couple of these last time. I should have remembered.
I've asked every single, there are 300 people, 300 guests. I've every single person, even Sally Wiggin. I sat here and made Sally Wiggin answer all these questions.
Was she quick with it, or did she like pause?
Fuck no. She needed some time to think about what she did.
Yeah.
I should go back and listen to what she did.
Yeah.
She answered all these questions and did the entire interview while eating a box of Sarah's chocolate pretzels.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I bought her a big ass bouquet of flowers and Sarah's pretzels, and like she just cracked it open while we were sitting there talking. She's just telling me about her life eating pretzels.
That's so cool.
Absolutely fantastic. Bro, I appreciate you coming over and talking to me about this. This was
awesome.
A wonderful time.
Had me back.
It's it's 15 years is a feat.
Thank you.
Got to be proud of that.
Yeah.
Here's to 15 more, because I'll be pissed whenever there ain't no Badamo.
Right. Yeah. One day there won't be anymore, but until that day,
that's all right.
You can find me,
because whenever that does happen, I'll know that you'll just be, chilling, enjoying your downtime a little bit, because I know that you're in the rat race now.
Yeah, always. But that's what keeps it going. That's like the fun part.
Now take a second, tell everyone where they can find the Instagram, what the addresses are, all that.
Yeah, so Badamo's Pizza, we are at 1509 Potomac Avenue in the neighborhood of Dormont in the city of Pittsburgh. You can find me at our second location at 1106 Federal Street, Pittsburgh, PA, on Pittsburgh's historic north side. If you're lucky, we will pull up to your party or wedding or something, some event with our fun wood burning trailer that we roll with. And I don't use social media outside of Instagram, so you can catch me at Badamo's Pizza on Instagram, and we try to stay up with that. Photos of our food linked with music that we are feeling at the moment, and that's how it comes together.
Love it. Everything about it. Love every bit of it. Everyone else that's listening, appreciate Yinz as usual. Each and every week, we're back with another great guest doing great things for our city. Thank you for listening. Peace. Call you right back.
Thank you.